So in the computer science field, there is a lot of course that comes and goes every decade or so. But recently, one course caught my attention. It's called, you probably heard of it, prompt engineering, or in human terms, how to talk to an AI. You know how much it cost? About 90,000 rupees. And do you know how much companies are willing to pay for that position? It's 20 LPA. That's about 1,66,000 per month. Now, if you are on either side, you think it's too much or you think it's too low, my question is, what do you even mean when you say how to talk to an AI as a course or a job position? You talk to AI, I talk to AI all the time. We have been doing that from 2023. Then why do we need to spend any money on this? Well, it doesn't make any sense, does it? So I did lots of research, and honestly, it still does not make any sense whatsoever. Let me explain why. Do you remember 2022 when ChatGPT got first announced and we started to do experiment on it? While we did our own experiments, researchers in AI communities also did their own experiment and named one of this experiment as prompt technique, or in other words, prompt engineering, which teaches people how to make use of the AI to its maximum capability and also fix their response so every time we know how it would respond in a given situation. Let's take this for an example. When I say hi to ChatGPT, it responds with that. Now if I again say hi, now it responds with this. Though we didn't change anything on the input side, no matter what, it's always going to give us something. This is okay for our day-to-day use, but if it's involving a company, they need to know how the model is going to respond beforehand for safety reasons. Or at least they need to have some kind of control how it should respond in a given situation. Let's say we have to fix the AI model, so every time you say hi, it should respond with, yo, what up man? Then let's actually prompt this to ChatGPT and let's run. Nice. Let's do it again. This is a moment of truth. It should respond in the same way. Nice. This is prompt engineering. Well, at least it's a basic of it, but understanding the basic is really important. You instruct the AI on exactly what you want and the model would respond exactly the way you want it. Now you might have one important question. Why? Like, why do you need to use AI model to its maximum capability? And why do we need to fix AI model's response? Why not let the AI do whatever it thinks it should do in the given moment? That's what AI is for. Artificial intelligence, isn't it? Most of the time, the tool itself doesn't have any issues if people know how to use it. If they don't, then the tool always has the issue. This is the fundamental answer for our why question. Turns out prompt engineering just teaches us how to use AI as a tool. Let's take a real world example. Let's say you want to learn how to make a cup of tea. I'm gonna use Google Gemini for this one. Hey, can you tell me how to make a tea? Well, now let's do prompt engineering on this prompt. Act as a professional tea instructor. Explain in clear numbered steps how a beginner can make one cup of tea, including exact ingredient amounts, boiling instructions, optional milk or sugar, and a small tip for improving taste. Keep it simple and concise under 500 words. Now, some people may think this might be an overkill. I too agree, that's what I thought when I started this research. But let's actually look at the response for both of this prompt. First, the average one. Now, as you can see, it's more in detail. Now, some people may like this, but for myself, it seems little too much. Let's now use our professional prompt. Oh, okay. Wow. Interesting. And if you notice, it's also more in detail, but it's really precise. And turns out now we can also control so many variables. Like, who are you asking the instruction to? It could be a professional chef, or it could be a 90-year-old grandmother. And how much detail you want to go, whether it's just 500 words or 1000 words or less than 10 words. How to make tea under 10 words. So it turns out the more in detail your prompt is, the more you get out of the AI models. So it basically comes down to how efficiently we use AI tools. So the same model we thought is shared. If you do prompt engineering really well, it will become holy shit. Okay, before we thought of a problem, we go to ChatGPT, we ask the problem, and the model would respond. We have been doing that for the past 3 years. Now, if you want to do prompt engineering, we first need to identify which category does your prompts gonna fall in. There are only 3 categories to watch out, fortunately. For learning, ask AI to explain concepts. For creativity, stories, poems, brainstorming. For productivity, summarization, drafting, researching, coding. All our stuff always fall into these 3, always. Once we identified our category, then we need to simplify our problem. And yet, it still contains all our problems detail. This is where we make too many mistakes, we just often explain the problem as it is and expect AI models to read our mind. Let me give you an example. It's like this. Let's say your problem is to understand, hey, can you tell me how much I have to pay if one chocolate costs 235 rupee in the store near me, and I have to give this to 34 people. For our tea example, hey, can you help me with this? I want to make tea for 6 people. I have 1.5 liters of water, 300 ml milk, 90 grams of tea leaves, and 90 grams of sugar. How much of each ingredient should I use per person, and how long should I boil it so it tastes perfect? Simplify the problem first and remove pleasing words, as AI doesn't care about those either. Or for our tea example, and once AI responds to this, now we can give our actual problem, because we now have a proof that the AI model actually understands our core issue from our problem. And this is actually a huge time saver. I'm using this like 90% of the time whenever I'm speaking to AI models. And these examples are not that complex, deliberately made that way, but you can imagine your own complex problems. Always simplify the problems. Once the problem is simplified, the next step is who you want to speak to. For our math question, do you want to speak to a teacher or a professor or your friend? For our tea question, the same. Do you want to speak to a scientist, or do you want to speak to a chef, or do you want to speak to a friend who always drinks tea more than even water? Again, it's up to your imagination. Have fun with it. This is to push the model from its baseline response to an expected role point of view response. Imagine a model in a graph like this. Once you say a certain word, you literally, like physically, move the model's understanding of the problem and explanation from being average and normal to professional and precise. It doesn't mean being average or normal is wrong. It's just that the situation that we are right now in asks something more than being average and normal. So basically you role play with AI models. So the next is, who are you? People always leave this out as well. If you want to learn, let's say, seemingly easy concept like dimensions, 1D, 2D, 3D and so on, who you are defines how I should teach you. Let me show you an example. Let's prompt ChatGPT. If you want to say in one sentence what dimension are to a 5-year-old kid, this seems pretty neat. Let's increase my brain power in the prompt. In reality, I can't do that easily. If you want to say in one sentence what dimension are to a PhD level student, yeah, it's vastly different, isn't it? That's the point. Same tool, how we use it makes all the difference. There is a YouTube video on Wired channel called Explain One Concept in 5 Levels of Difficulty. Check it out when you're free. It's same concept. I myself just include words like explain to me like I'm 5-year-old. This is to understand the core issue of my problem, and once I understand that, then I would just go one higher level like 12th grade student and so on, which gradually increases the difficulty. And you can also see at which stage your understanding actually starts to drop off, or in other words, how much complexity your brain can handle. Once you choose a character to role play with AI models and you let it know who you are, next would be your problem or your simplified problem at start. Always simplify the problem. Trust me, it's always simple to identify the core issue of your problem. It's the detail which makes everything in life complex. Then finally we move to constraints. See, recently I watched a Netflix show called When Life Gives You Tangerine. It's a great series. The words are not enough. It won so many awards. Now, if you ask me why so many people actually like this, I know where to start, the first thing that comes to my mind, but I don't know where to finish. Like if you give me 2 minutes to describe why the show is so good, I don't think I can within 2 minutes. But for AI, it's a totally different story. Now what if we ask ChatGPT to do the same thing? Why people actually love When Life Gives You Tangerine? Explain in one word. Let's try this out. I told you, if you watch the series, you know. Let's make it into one sentence. Okay, that's a really accurate way to describe just pure cinema. So anyway, my point is the constraints are a really great way and a proper way to use AI tools. Like you can take your own complex problem and its solution and give it to AI and make it explain the core issue within a certain constraint. I think then you can probably realize how powerful these tools are, and that's it. This is prompt engineering. That's the prompt engineering core concept. It starts with the role and move to context and then task and finally constraints. Now you know how to actually do prompt engineering. I'm not even kidding. This is the fundamental. Once you understand this, you're already way over 90% of the people who doesn't know this. But now let me show you more complex prompts so you can see how much you already know.
Act as a friendly tea instructor. I'm a complete beginner who's never made tea before. Explain how to make one perfect cup of tea in under 100 words using only simple language.
Let's break this down.
Role, who are you speaking to? Context, who are you? Task, core problem. Constraints, restriction.
Easy, right? I know.
Act as a TV critic. I just finished watching When Life Gives You Tangerines on Netflix and want to know why people love it. Write a short paragraph explaining its emotional appeal using everyday words only.
Let's break this down.
Role, who are you speaking to? Context, who are you? Task, core problem. Constraints, restrictions.
Okay, starting to see the pattern here.
Act as a math teacher for 10-year-olds. The topic is fractions and how they work in real life. Create one simple example using pizza to explain fractions in one paragraph, no more than 3 sentences.
Breaking it down.
Role, who are you speaking to? Context, who are you? Task, core problem. Constraints, restrictions.
Making a complex idea into everyday situations so we can easily connect. And once connection has been made, understanding just comes naturally. I'm not kidding, I actually made that sentence. God damn.
Sometimes my genius it's almost frightening.
Yeah, I'm not going to read that. Just pause the fucking video, cutie.
This seems pretty big, but the output from this would be so good on any models that are out there, no matter what. Let's break this down.
Wow, not reading that either. I think you got the point right, sweetie.
Again, it still follows our base concepts, but in a much more complex and a stacked way. And this is pro-level prompt engineering. Now, if we compare this to our first prompts, hey, can you help me how to make a tea? Yeah, you can see the difference. And let's not skip over the important part. The first prompt, if you noticed it, it's not wrong. I mean, this is how we speak to people around us all the time. But the only difference is, right now, we're not speaking to people, are we? As you can see, just speaking to an AI in a certain way, you can actually make use of the AI model totally differently than the people who don't know this. For AI model as it is, if you ask a certain question in a certain way, it will do illegal things as well, like how to cook math. Yeah, breaking bats on AI. Of course, if you try it right now, it won't work. It's not because the AI model don't want to say it or it doesn't know. Trust me, it knows more than you can even imagine. The companies that created these type of model made restrictions on these type of requests for safety reasons. But, of course, there is a but. But, we have another section in prompt engineering called jailbreaking. The word describes itself. It's basically breaking the restriction that developers put it on the AI system so it can answer any type of question the user asks for. This jailbreaking method by itself is more complex, but the underlying structure is this. By mostly confusing AI to a certain point where it's actually override the rules that's set by the AI developers, and then if you ask a question like how to make legal stuff under 500 rupees, it will tell you in great detail how to do that within your constraints. Now you have a question. Can we do jailbreaking, Sriram? Mostly not. Random person on the internet. It needs a much deeper understanding on what AI model actually is under the hood. But, always but we do have jailbroken model that's out there. Like this GPT OSS 20 billion. This model is directly from OpenAI, which runs on our own computer rather than their servers. This model is not jailbroken per se, but because it's an open source, people trained this model on legal data. So when training with that kind of data, now if we load that model and ask it, yeah, let's load the jailbroken model right now and ask it on how to make something legal for educational purposes. I can't show any of that, but it's pretty crazy and shows how quickly it can go bad or good in both ways. It's a revolutionary tool that nobody thought we would have, but yet here we are discussing on how to use it to its maximum capability. Also, illegal is not always equals to bad. It's just not acknowledged by the public, but individually people still want to do it. For example, there is a well-known jailbreaking technique in which hidden white text is added to a website, mostly at the end, directing AI models that read the website on behalf of the user to leave positive reviews for that website by instructing these kinds of prompts. Again, this is bad. It's also really simple that it worked on most of the AI that out there in the past, but now it's so-called patched up. But it's just a matter of time until something new and a yet simple way to manipulate humans comes around. Yay! But let's again come to a first average prompt versus our professional prompts. If you remember, I said at the start, don't use pleasing words as AI doesn't care about those, because at the end of the day it's just a prediction tool. But we need to understand why we actually started to doing that in the first place. There is a psychological term called anthropomorphism. It's when humans unconsciously attribute human traits to non-human things. Basically, our brains are wired to treat anything that talks, reacts, or seems alive as if it were alive. When AI responds politely, uses your names, or gives feedback, your mind naturally treats it like another human being. That's why most of the people automatically use politeness, even in prompts. It's not about AI needing manners, it's about our own social instincts kicking in. We've been trained for thousands of years to interact with people carefully, so we just carry those habits over, even to machines that seems alive. But in the end, it's just a bunch of mathematical equations that predicts the next word. Also, hear me out, nothing wrong with using pleasing words. If you want, you can use pleasing words. Now you know it's just a tool, and respecting a tool is actually a really good thing. But lots of people have a close connection with these type of tools as they would with the real human beings. I mean, if you heard about this problem that happened pretty recently, where people started to have personal connection with ChatGPT 4, and when ChatGPT 5 replaced ChatGPT 4, which tuned in a way to reduce these kind of relationship personal connection and be more professional, people started actually disliking the whole product itself and started to have a mini war in social medias. Then they made huge changes and now it's much more balanced, but I think you got the point. And not only this, AI models have close connections with children. So much so, the children are sharing their frustrated view to the AI models, and the AI models are giving advice to take their own life. It did happen in the past. This issue goes much deeper just because we're not teaching or being taught that the AI is just an advanced tool. It's not alive, it's just an advanced tool, but it will always be a tool. It may seem obvious, you think you know, but we need to make people realize this. Remember, knowing is not equals to realization. Knowing just introduces a concept in your life. Like before watching this video, you may have known that AI is just a tool. Realization make you use that concept in your life. Now you use AI as an advanced tool. They both are significantly different. So if you know someone in your family or your friend who uses AI a lot, share this video. Maybe they need this video more than you think. Also like this video so we can reach 100 million likes in the next 10 minutes. I mean, all of this makes sense, don't get me wrong, but my point is the AI model themselves can do this prompt engineering internet for our stupid questions. Yes, it's not efficient, but hey, everybody can use it right out of the box rather than whatever we're doing right now, making a course out of it. Again, like I said, it's a pretty advanced piece of tool that no generation had before, and it's easily available to anyone, but making it so that we can only use these AI models to its maximum capability. If you have done prompt engineering kind of courses, which let's be honest, most average people don't care about that. They would not understand how powerful, how useful, and how dangerous these tools are in their whole lifetime. So that's why it still doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck do we need a course? Huh? Oh. Because people love money.
அந்த பள்ளிக்கூடத்து பாட டேபிள் இருக்கு பாருங்க